Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Three news stories for you. PM Abiy of Ethiopia is on a new mission, accompanied by a top delegation leading a senior delegation. He arrived in Djibouti last night, 24-hour visit. It's not that just he went there and returned. No, he's there, still there. It's a high stakes engagement between Ethiopia and Djibouti. Details for you. Secondly, last night Ethiopian government increased fuel prices, which will lead to more burden on people. Cost of living will rise. And lastly, South Sudan, on the verge of a civil war, has announced to launch nationwide disarmament, while Ugandan forces in South Sudan are advancing towards strongholds of a militia backed by rival South Sudan group led by Riek Machar. Let's start, viewers. Firstly, uh, let's have a look at these two news stories for South Sudan and increase in fuel prices. And then at the end, we'll have a detailed look at what Mimab is doing is in Djibouti. South Sudan, it seems, is on the verge of a civil war. Ugandan forces have arrived in the country, confirmed. Some accuse Uganda of conducting airstrikes too in support of Salva Kiir forces against Riek Machar. Nasir, another county in South Sudan, close to Ethiopian border, are being controlled by White Army, White militia, which is backed by Riek Machar group. Salva Kiir has put Riek Machar under arrest, house arrest reportedly. Ministers of Riek Machar group have been fired. Journals of Riek Machar group, they have been they have not been dismissed, but they have been put out of decision making, policy making. Uganda supporting Salva Kiir government. You know that a general died, general aligned with the South Sudan government died while conducting a rescue mission in Nasir County. The general has been laid to rest, and after his funeral, the government has announced that it's going to launch nationwide disarmament campaign. Why? Definitely there is fear of civil war. That is why now government wants to disarm all the people. Everyone in the country is going to be disarmed. Those who have weapons. Uh, the other side, Reich Machar Group knows very well that this operation will target their communities. Let's see, will South Sudan government be able to conduct massive disarmament in coming days? But this decision shows how grave the situation is. Ugandan ground forces are advancing towards the strongholds of White Army, reportedly. Ugandan forces and South Sudan People's Defense Forces, SSPDF, of Salva Kiir are jointly advancing towards Reich Machar backed group strongholds in the country, which is not far away from Ethiopian border. Second, was the price of fuel has been increased in Ethiopia last night. Ethiopian government raised prices of gasoline, kerosene oil, diesel. Almost 10% increase has been announced by the government. New price of petrol around 113 bir. New price of diesel around 100. It has also been increased. Price of kerosene oil, I think it's around 108. The increase in fuel prices is going to lead to burden on the people. leading to more inflation. You'll see rise in food prices. Government says that oil in Ethiopia, fuel in Ethiopia is still being sold cheaper than other countries. And still government is giving subsidy on gasoline, on kerosene oil to the people. Subsidy is being withdrawn gradually. But how will people survive? This is the question, because if prices go up, if cost of living becomes unbearable, how will people survive? Lastly, viewers, PM Abiy is on a new mission. On Sunday, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia landed in Djibouti. He was welcomed by Djibouti's Prime Minister. President Ismail Omar did not come to the airport to receive Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Why? I think Ismail Omar, the President of Djibouti, is not well, he has not fully recovered. He has been ill. He received treatment abroad as well. Interesting composition of PM Abiy's delegation. It's a high-level delegation. PM Abiy, Ridwan Hussein there, Ethiopian Intelligence Agency Chief. Ahmed Shide there, Mr. Finance. He's a Somali. Ridwan is not Somali. Ahmed Shide is Somali. Adan Farah there. Adan Farah is Deputy Chairman of the Prosperity Party. He's also Somali. Somali Regional President Mustafa Umar, part delegation. Abul Arba Afar Regional President also accompanying. Janal Darasa Dagefa also accompanying. So it's a very high level senior delegation. Imabi held meetings with Ismail Omar too, and it's a 24-hour visit. What is this visit about? No, the official announcement is very vague. Djibouti's president issued a message saying that the two countries are working to strengthen bilateral relations and work on joint program projects. Vague statement, basically. What is happening behind the closed doors? Two issues, I think. I think either the Prime Minister of Ethiopia is on a massive reconciliation mission. He wants reconciliation between Afars and Somalis. Afar-Somali dispute has been ongoing in Ethiopia, in Djibouti for years. I have done scores of videos about Afar-Somali clashes in Ethiopia. They are in a deadlock over some territories, border territories. Djibouti is involved too, because we've been seeing attacks on Afars in Djibouti. Djibouti is led by Somali Isas, Afars obviously minority there, and Djibouti has been fighting an Afar armed group, Front for Restoration of Unity and Democracy. And a few weeks ago, Djibouti conducted a drone strike on Fruit fighters on Djibouti-Ethiopia border. Djibouti has been battling with this resistance movement by Afars. This resistance movement is based in Djibouti and in Ethiopian Afar region too. PM Abiy either wants to mediate between Afars and Somalis. That is why the leaders accompanying him are both Afars and Somalis. And he wants a broader effort of mediation, because Djibouti has been involved in Ethiopia's internal affairs in Afar and Somali region. People say Djibouti backed Somali Isas of Somali region of Ethiopia against Afars of Ethiopia. Maybe this visit is about reconciliation, mediation between the two communities. If it is for reconciliation, it should be encouraged, backed. Yes, Afars and Somalis have been fighting for years. They should reach a solution, an agreement. Second possibility is that PM Abiy is accompanied by Afars and Somalis of Ethiopia, and he wants some sort of concessions from Djibouti's government about port use, about sea access. Sea access is on the mind of the Ethiopian Prime Minister. He wants access to sea. He says that this is a matter of existential threat for Ethiopia. He's in talks with Somalia too. He signed MOU with Somaliland as well. MOU could not be implemented. He's eyeing a support to Djibouti offered Tajora port to Ethiopia a few months ago. And Ethiopia can exclusively use this port for its imports, exports. Ethiopia did not respond. Ethiopia using Djibouti's port for decades, but Ethiopia has been complaining that Djibouti raises port tariffs. And Djibouti's port tariffs on Ethiopia have been unfair. Djibouti's economy relies on revenue generated by handling Ethiopian exports and imports. Djibouti does not want to lose a customer, Ethiopia. That is why it offered Tajora port to Ethiopia. Maybe all these Somali Afar leaders are in Djibouti, led by PM Abiy, because PM Abiy wants a new port deal with Djibouti. Let's see. So far, it's difficult to say because talks still ongoing. But these are two main issues, I think. Thirdly, I think that PM Abiy would like peace and stability on Djibouti-Ethiopia border, on a far Somali border, if he is planning to confront Eritrea. A destabilized Ethiopia-Djibouti border, a far Somali region border, will not be helpful for PM Abiy's government. And secondly, situation internally isn't improving to, in Amhara, in Tigray, in Oromia regions, military deployed, more in Amhara than in Oromia, than in Tigray. If somehow far Somalis reach an agreement, it means that it will be easy to get support from these regions for PM Abiy's internal and external campaigns. Let's see. We'll update you in coming videos. So for discussions ongoing between Ethiopian delegation and Djibouti delegation led by President Ismail Omar. Thank you for watching.